Hi everybody, my name's Josh from CreditorWatch and I'm one of the account managers who will be helping look after you guys as you start to use CreditorWatch. Today's session is just simply how to do a basic CreditorWatch search, how to navigate the system, and from that point, if you have questions, by all means, we're happy to field it. This we thought was the best way to do training without taking up too much of your time. You can work through these sort of sessions, and also we're going to be providing a little how-to guide so you can use that as you navigate through CreditorWatch. But I have a feeling you'll be fine, as once you've been given your login, you'll be good to go and able to explore the website. So when you do get your login, you'll see a dashboard, and this is where you'll do your main searching for businesses, and it's quite self-explanatory. You're able to explore the platform, and I think the main message is that you don't need to be afraid to get into different areas. There's lots of information, and over time that training and using the system will certainly help with that. So the main thing I'm going through today is how to search for a customer, and then ultimately how to print that out for those who just need to simply do those basic tasks in your day-to-day. Now, CreditorWatch is just like an internet search engine, and you can search via ABN, ACN, trading name, or even a assigned ID. Now, at this stage, you're going to use your client IDs, so by all means, you can search via that, and it will hopefully match to the entity that you're looking for. I'm just going to use a couple of examples today, and when you do have your chance to get in there, again, you can use this dashboard to explore and enter into the businesses you need to check. Now, as I mentioned, you can type a trading name, and as you type more, the more matches will try to narrow that down. So by searching via ABN and ACN, that is a much more accurate way to determine that you've got the correct entity. If you are doing a general search and you're not sure, well, less information is good, and in this case, I'm just using the example of A1 Advanced Constructions. If I just put A1 Advanced, we'll start to narrow further and further, but I can press enter in that dashboard and it will provide me a list. So again, I can use this to search multiple entities and just make sure that I'm dealing with the correct entity. The example I am going to use today is A1 Advanced. Now, a lot of the time when you do come into a credit report, what will happen is that you won't see this much adverse, will actually be ticks. But each of these widgets are interactive, so coming into a credit file, you don't need to scroll all the way down the page. You can click on those boxes and go to that section that you are interested in viewing. One of the key things I'm going to teach everybody is that when you do get into your credit file, a little handy thing to do is click the button to monitor for changes. And one of the reasons is that once you're monitoring that, CreditorWatch is aware that if multiple users go into that, you're using just one business profile, and multiple users throughout the company can view the same information. So it's just a little handy thing to do. Doesn't mean that you'll continue needing to monitor that as you go on, and down the track you can remove that from your watch list. Now, very simply, I'm going to run through certain areas of the credit report. I'm not going to go into depth about the type of data that's available, but ultimately it will just help you understand what you're looking at. And again, once you're able to jump in, it will make more sense as you progress through the credit report. Now, a key difference with CreditorWatch is that we're a live platform, and what that means is that our information changes whenever there is a change of ASIC or any adverse or anything within the information or other government departments that we ultimately collect data from. Why is this different to a few others? Is other providers you use provide a PDF, so it's taking a snapshot of that time, but to look at more information, well, you have to go buy that again. With us, we're a live platform, and we allow you to take that screenshot or print that PDF whenever you're ready. So you could look at your report today and decide not to print it, but in 2 days' time, something could have changed. You can jump in there and print that. So ultimately, I'll show you in a moment how to take that snapshot in time. So that way, if you do need to go back historically, you can say, this is what the report looked like on that day, and this is where we are at today. Now, CreditorWatch provides a very easy to read platform. And a lot of the time we're trying to point out adverse, so that way you don't need to spend all day within a credit file. A lot of the time, as I mentioned, you can come in here and there'll be a lot of green showing that there's no issues with this, particular entity you're looking at. The reason I'm using A1 today is that most recently they've had some adverse hit and have also gone to external administration, so it will just make a bit more sense with some of the sections I'll explain. We provide information from both the ABR and ASIC, different government databases, and what happens there is that ASIC obviously look at after companies, the ABR tends to look at the trustee side where ABNs are recorded. So we gather all that into one space, and it saves you using other websites to seek that information. We provide a risk rating. Again, this is a lot of information to go through, so that will be provided to those who do look a little bit deeper into the data. But for the sake of those just looking at the credit report, this is one of the ratings that you'll see at the very beginning here when you jump into the credit file. If you do wish to explore a little bit more, we've got little extra information down here that you're able to read through and just get a basic understanding of what all this information means. We also provide a payment rating, so very similar to the credit rating. There's a little bit of information down the bottom here that will just give you a bit of a guide as you work through the profile. Now, a key component is credit inquiries. So we don't make you leave a footprint, which is really important for businesses who need to seek out information on directors and related shareholders. The only footprint left is the ANZ code that your business is related to. So when you do come in and see credit inquiries, you're able to see what sort of other customers of CreditorWatch are looking at this particular profile and match it back to the industry sector that they're from. We provide risk data. So if there's court actions, payment defaults, tax defaults, published notices, they're all here. And to access that data, you simply can click down to get more detailed view and look that information. One key thing I like to point out is about tax defaults. So when you look at a credit file, because a commercial default's different to an ATO default, it won't come up on this front widget here. But what you'll need to do is head down to the risk data section just to see if there is any recording from the ATO on those defaults. So you'll be able to jump in here again and explore further from that. Also, we provide, as I mentioned, commercial defaults. So these are defaults lodged by other CreditorWatch customers throughout the country. So a really important section to come in and you're able to view when they were lodged, what status they're at, and the amount that is owing on that particular entity. An important part is ASIC published notices. So not only will you get the notice, but you can further view that. And again, all of this stuff within CreditorWatch is printable, but you don't have to do it every time. So the key component is that we've always got this held on our website available to come and visit when you need to. A key component for all of you will be ASIC data. Now I've got a few statuses to show you because our ASIC data, we provide knowledge to our customers that it can be in 3 different stages. A lot of the time when you come into a credit report, you actually see that information is up to date. And how you read this is simply that the last time a customer extracted an ASIC extract was on the 27th of April. And what we tell you is that nothing has changed with ASIC since that date. This saves you needing to continually purchase these ASIC extracts because we're able to tell you what information has changed. This one here that I'm using as an example shows that there's new data, and what's happened is only 2 days ago someone extracted this. Now there's a little section down here called ASIC documents lodged. What we tell you is what's changed on that file before needing to even purchase the ASIC extract. So you'll see here that obviously if it was pulled on the 3rd of May, what's happened since then is another document's been lodged at ASIC. So there's a couple of options here. You can refresh the ASIC extract if you wish to, or quite simply, if you're happy knowing that the directors' registered addresses, shareholders have remained the same, you don't need to, and you can print that report by whatever means you need. Now, there is one further stage which I have prepared, and that is when you get into a credit file and there's no ASIC data. Now, what normally happens is if you get into a file like this, you'll tend to find that they are quite low credit active files, or they could be a brand new business. And what that means is that anyone who's visited this file is yet to go and purchase an extract which adds more information into that section. You'll be notified if there is a need to pull this, and it will just give you the options within the platform to pull that. If I head down here though, a little sort of insight already is the ASIC documents lodged again, and I can just see that it was registered for a company since 2019, and since then not much has changed. I can view the addresses and the shareholders, but apart from that, I don't need to explore any further. If I did want to generate a report and pull that, there's going to be a few options that you guys can use internally to make those decisions. So this is a key part, and that's because generating a report can be done in two ways. To just build a very basic report, I can click on basic, and it will give me options to what I want to include in my report. And the reason we've done this is because the bigger the company you pull a report on, the more data there is. So some companies have credit inquiries of over 2,000. So you don't want that filling up your PDF report with pages and pages of credit inquiries. So you can pick and choose which documents you wish to have or how you build your profile, download it, and then when you go to open it, it will look exactly how you see it on the actual live platform, but you're able to save this as a file. And as I mentioned, this is a snapshot in time to show what you were viewing on that particular day. So internally, you're able to save that file as sort of a watermark for when down the track, if things do change within your entity that you monitor, you can go back and compare the data. If you do need to refresh an ASIC extract, well, what will happen is when you go to generate a report, you may have seen when I showed my last screen that there is a little area here saying new data available. So under customize, that's where you can refresh that data and include the most current extract. There's also options here to do other in-house purchases, but the main one you'll come across is when it recommends the ASIC extract needs to be pulled. Again, this is your choice, and internally you guys will sort out when this is appropriate. But if you do have that task, it's simply just adding to the report, building your report out to what information you need, clicking purchase. Not only will it give you a PDF report refreshed, when it goes back to the screen, you'll simply refresh the page, and then this will change to a status saying information up to date. So I don't expect everyone to know this straight away, but the key component is for you to jump in and just be aware that when you go to the ASIC data, there could be different stages that it's at. An example I have is when the director information has changed. So as you can see here, extracted on the 21st of April, it will alert you that the director data has changed. You can head to this little ASIC documents lodged, take a look at what's changed about that particular profile, and then, as I mentioned, you have the choice whether to purchase or simply use that information as knowledge and refresh whenever you need to from that point. ASIC data, again, you'll get used to this as you go through the profile, finding the same information you're used to. One of the key components is that not only do you get information on the directors, but you'll also get the known office holdings that these directors have, and it will also point out any adverse that sits within those known cross directorships. Your daily alert emails, if you do receive that each day, it will notify not only of the company you watch, but also directors and when they have adverse sitting within that. So again, really important area to look at, and it's interactive. So that's probably the key too, that you might not be used to a PDF reporting. You can explore further and look at those different businesses that they're related to. Registered addresses, same deal. You can click on the map. It's interactive. You can go to Street View to confirm the addresses of those companies. Shareholders, also interactive. So if it doesn't lead to an individual but leads to a company, you can click on that and it takes you further to explore. ASIC documents, as I mentioned, this is actually almost a little cheat sheet you can use to understand the history of a business. So anytime something's happened with a business, this is your timeline. It will give you all the information you need to know about a company when changes have taken place, and you're able to build up a profile yourself of understanding that history. And last but not least is previously extracted. So this is a really handy area. Anytime a customer in CreditorWatch has purchased an extract on this particular entity, we record it. A lot of the time, there'll actually be historical data as well, and that's when a customer has pulled a current and historical extract, and you're actually able to jump in and view those bits of information yourself. Again, you can download it and you can view what that particular ASIC extract looked at the time, previous office holders, all those sorts of bits of information. But the key point is there's no cost. You can jump in, use all these bits of information, generate reports, and most importantly, seek further clarification on all the different data. And last but not least is related information on business names. So as you may know, a lot of companies will call themselves different trading names over time. This will be recorded here. You're able to make that connection and make sure that obviously the legal name of the company matches the potential trading name that they're using throughout. So that is CreditorWatch in a nutshell. As mentioned, once you've got your login, have a jump around. The system's there, easy to use, and by all means, more questions you can send our way, but I have a feeling you'll be completely fine. Thank you.